Hello, welcome to my channel for Evolved Humans. I'm Ms. Day. Um, this is a really interesting reading because I feel like I'm talking to like an independent few levels. So like some of you totally stepped away from like what you were taught to do, family environment. You've totally stepped away from that and into your own path. I think you did that early on. And then for some of you, I feel like you're doing it very recently, where you've stepped out of like, okay, I think that I almost feel like one of the first messages, okay, the song in my head was, it was like I just kept hearing, what a year for a new year, over and over again. Like it's like you're like, it is time for a new day. And I feel like almost an exhausted type of feeling from whoever this reading is for. And it feels like a very intense and solid ending of a long cycle that I think was a downward turn. And I feel like a large part of this is like you have grown from this place of being imprisoned in your own mind with this cycle. I don't know what this is, but it's like this whole reading is like a journey where whoever you are, you had this protection in your mind. Like you had this almost like this naive feeling for you was kind of cleared up really quickly in your life. I just keep getting this feeling that whoever this reading is for, your childhood was cut early, and in the way that inside you kind of like stepped out of a childhood rose-colored glasses phase. I hope that makes sense. And I feel like what came of that, it's like you almost got stuck in this place of negative outlook. And I feel like you found this odd balance where it's like you could trust your inner knowing to get you out of it. But it's almost like you weren't truly connected with yourself to get out of it. It's almost like you had to manipulate yourself through and around and away from those habits and cycles that were like keeping you on the same path. And I think that whenever this thing in the past like shattered in your own mindset, that put you into kind of like needing to reevaluate your surroundings, I do feel like a lot of you left a living situation and it was like weird and the unknown, but it was better and you knew it. And that step that you took gave you this sense of your own independence again that I think was a long time coming. And that doesn't have to be someone leaving like a relationship. I do think that everyone this reading resonates for. I think that you have cut ties internally. Like you're not carrying them around in your spine with you anymore. And I feel like you're looking back in a very knowing way. And the thing that drives you forward, I feel, okay, there's this exhausted feeling where you're almost you've tried to do the right thing along the way. It's been with this sense of independence that I think you have. Almost like a quest for independence. That could mean a few different things. I think that could mean like financial and just like your own path in life, or both. But whoever this reading is for, this next period of time, it's like keep trying to do the right thing, and they're like saying you might feel like you're on your last straw, but just like one more step forward. And I do feel like the hits are going to stop coming. I feel like they're saying like, you've had enough. You've evaluated all of the ways that maybe you could avoid certain situations in the future just based on everything you've already gone through, and that there is a newfound sense of justice that you have not yet or are beginning to feel. And I feel like you're exhausted from the fight. That's what it feels like. And yet, the first thing I felt about this reading was that it was the ending. I also kept hearing, before doing this reading today, I kept hearing that it's the time of the season finale. Like it's an end of a phase here. But it's a phase where you're leaving a old version of you and you're going into your evolved you phase again. And I feel like this is like what you've been working for. And so the message too, it felt very clear when I started that you need to, interesting. I kept hearing for no reason, and now it makes sense because it's coming back, but I kept hearing like this weird thing about like the best revenge is just to like succeed. And I feel like whoever I'm talking to, this isn't even, it can be for some like a personal type of feeling where you're like, well, look what I can do without that. But I feel like a lot of you, it's more like against your former cycles. You're like, I'm so done with that and leaving that behind because of the weight it had on me and the chains that it felt like that were a part of, I think, your lifestyle, the things around you, maybe a job, maybe a town. But I feel like a huge message is that not only are you a creative being because you actually navigate by knowing yourself really well, but like it's almost like you haven't given yourself that credit, because along the way it's like you would grow some but not give yourself the credit for that growth, and then grow another level but not give yourself the credit for that level or the level before it, and then grow more, and then you're like missing the credit for all of this growth you've done. So it's like this, it's an upward, battle. And I feel like this new place, it's really cool because the message for you is like almost like you need to find a muse for yourself, which sounds nuts, but I just keep thinking that you need to find that their message is now find that thing that like fills you up, do the silly little things that you like enjoy. It doesn't matter how little, whatever it is that like just kind of makes you feel. Because I feel like a big message here is all of that time that you didn't give yourself all of the credit that you really did, that was due along the way. They're like, now you're leaving that lack of self-worth behind. Whew. Like you're stepping into a new phase of self-worth, and they're like saying, yes, this is what you're doing, and you need to see what you are. It's like you are your own muse. They want you to have the credit that is due, which is basically like, if you, no matter what, this feels a lot like, not all of you, but a lot of you, I think, feel almost weighed down by where you didn't progress to quick enough, or in all the shortcomings, even if sure, maybe you didn't deserve these negatives that came at you, but you may have avoided it if you hadn't done this, or if you hadn't been like this, or made that choice. That's exhausting, Ooh, sorry. But that's exhausting. Like, I feel like they want you to basically realize all of that stuff, and you just looking at it and acknowledging it and carrying that, like you've carried it long enough. It's a burden to have to just get exhausted knowing what you know. I feel like this is a very big message that you have so much more good and light than you, I think it's almost like you just constantly look at others' light and not yours. It's so interesting, but that exhausted feeling, I think, is why. This reading is about stepping forward and recognizing where you've come, and just the fact that you are the one making the journey. Like, there is no guidebook when you want to do your own thing or set out on your own, especially in the world that we live in. There's no, like, you're not going to find the right way without attempting it yourself. It's exactly like when people are trying to get healthy or find the right, like, diet for their lifestyle and for their health that make them sleep good and feel good. It's like that. You start with the basics. This is going to sound crazy, but really good example. It's like my 600-pound life. One of the things that the doctor would do, they would just lay out this flat, basic, this is how many calories you need a day, this is what you need to avoid, this is how much exercise I want you to do. That's the start. And if you're willing to do the basics, then we can go on to the next level. And this feels like, okay, you can definitely do the basics. You've proven that you can get your way, you can find your way out of turmoil. You have proven that you can find your way out of locked up places. And you've proven that you can see the world clearly without, thinking it's cupcakes and roses. And they're like, and you also have looked at your own flaws. But they're like, what you have not yet done is looked at those flaws in a loving and accepting way, the way they look at them. Because they're not looking at them like, okay, let's go over this and continue forward, carrying them and talking about them all the time. They're like saying, you need to appreciate how far you've come so that you can truly leave where you were and used to be behind. Because this feels like not just the end of one version of yourself. This feels like a really long time coming. And if you have not yet felt this, I feel like it's because you're just exhausted from kind of always expecting something to get in the way or stop you from being fully ready for that next move. And I feel like they're saying this is the end to that. Now accept it and look at what you've done, because your whole journey matters. And if you're responsible for all of the things that you could have avoided along the way, then the fact that you must accept before stepping forward is that you're responsible for this next moment, which is that you actually do get to leave a cycle behind. That's a lot of inner work. That's a lot of accountability. That's why I feel like as soon as I thought like justice with this reading, it felt so much more like you need to feel justified and just feel like you have a right to have gone your way. You already did. And now you're calling the shots. I also feel like they keep this message feels like you are smarter than you think you are. Whoever you are, if you're doubting your own ability to do something different and to make a new move, they're like, this is in your hands. You need to figure out what makes you feel, because now there's nothing that's coming at you. So, awesome. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope that applies to someone, because this is a very powerful, meticulous type of person, it feels like. So, and also just to keep trying to do the right thing, that does seem like the purpose to each of your moves. Even if you don't know everything you know now, during those times, if your intention at the time was to do the right thing, then cut yourself a break. You tried. Okay, so I'm going to really leave it at that. I hope you have a really good rest of your night. Subscribe if you feel like the readings resonate. Let me know, and I will see you in the next reading.